All right, welcome to the Jerry Sinz Show here at the Buck-A-Neer in Roselleville. Again, Buck-A-Neer, we've had a lot of fun out here. Coach got a salad waiting for him over here, and dine on that a little bit later. I know Coach likes coming out here. Salad bar is great. It really is. It's one of my favorites out here. Wednesday is all-you-can-eat steak and shrimp, chicken and shrimp Alfredo. Thursday, all-you-can-eat barbecue ribs and chicken. Chicken wings and fries, too. Friday, fish fry, and Saturday, prime rib, all at the Buck-A-Neer in Roselleville. All right, Coach, tough game on Friday night, and we kind of knew that coming in. You and Hurley, two really good teams. Maybe we'll see, playoffs are around the corner already. We'll talk about that maybe just a little bit today, but really two heavyweights kind of going at it. A game that went to overtime, and a game that you missed out on right at the end there. The thing for me about Hurley, and it's possible, level 3, level 4, maybe you get to see Hurley again, but those running backs, I mean, they not only was the offense tough to figure out, but those running backs were some big dudes back there at Hurley.
Yeah, they've been there for 3 years because we played them twice 2 years ago, and they were both runners and players for them then. And of course, they were already big back then too. But at that time, we had juniors and seniors playing against them as sophomores. Well, now, of course, they're both seniors, and now we got juniors and sophomores playing against them. So the script kind of got flipped. But especially Blaney, the fullback. I mean, he's close to 240 and just runs hard and low. We got a couple guys beat up. I don't know if they're going to be able to play this week. Just tackling the guys. So it made it a rough game.
You had a real drill in gang tackling. Those are things, even in a game like that you can take that game film and just show year after year after year. This is how you gang tackle. And that's what you had to do. Did you talk to the guys about that before the game? We're going to have to send, 3 or 4 guys to bring these guys down?
Yeah, we did, of course, especially with the fullback trap, which is their dominant play, which they run over and over and over. I think he ran it 26 or 27 times. And then, of course, if you would get that stopped, well, then he'd go with the fullback power with Cummings, around the end, and of course he's just as big almost. And but I was happy that we played as well as we did. Obviously there was a great discrepancy in penalties, which, a guy kind of knows you go away game, a non-conference game, especially if you go 150 miles away, you probably won't get many breaks, and we didn't, and. All those things make a big difference in a game that's a 2-pointer in overtime. One call here or there can turn a game like that. So, but hopefully we learn from it and we'll get better and get healthy and go forward from there.
One point can be the difference, especially you go to overtime. You think about maybe some of those missed points. You're able to score a touchdown with a minute and a half left in the game. Earlier in the third quarter, your place kicker, your quarterback gets ejected from the game. Maybe you make the extra point, maybe you don't. There's all those ifs that we won't be able to, we'll never know that kind of thing. But, what did you talk to the guys about, about keeping your cool, keeping your head in the game, and staying in the game?
Yeah, of course, we've talked about it before. And, there's nothing that... He told me what he said, and the official said the same thing. And I said, well, usually you don't get ejected for that. But the official told me the same thing that he said, which was not that bad, but he ejected him for it anyway. So I said, well, obviously you learned that you can't say that then. But we'd have probably kicked the extra point if he'd have been in there, because he is a pretty good extra point kicker. And our reserve kicker ran out there, but oh man, he hadn't even kicked one in the JV game, I don't think. So then we decided, we'll go for 2. And we ended up about a foot short.
Yeah.
And of course, then it went overtime, yeah.
Everett Brame just had a spectacular game. Tell us about his effort on Friday night.
Yeah, Everett is playing as good or better than we could have imagined, because he's such a little guy. I mean, he doesn't even weigh 140. And he plays like he weighs about 185. Does all kinds of things. Plays great defensive back. I mean, he was tackling those guys one-on-one sometimes. I don't know how the heck he brought them down, but he did. And then of course when we got some guys out of the game, Bonkelman hit he got hit by the sideline over there and hit the fence and injured his arms when he was out. So then Bream had to go back in the kickoff for him and almost broke it all the way. He also ran a couple of reverses that Buck-A-Neer would have ran, and he broke one of those, I think, for a touchdown or whatever. So yeah, he had a really good game. I think he's only touched the ball 11 times this year, like 5 rushes and 6 receptions, and I think he's got 7 touchdowns on 11 touches or something like that. So obviously the coaches said, well, we got to give him the ball more often. I said, oh man, that might be a good idea.
Something to think about this week. You got
Right.
homecoming against Auburndale on Saturday. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But back to Everett, though, in that overtime period, he made a move on that touchdown that you might see 10 times in a season in the entire state on that move for him to get in the end zone. And then you go back to your bread and butter on the 2-point conversion. Carter tries to out-wrestle a few guys there at the end, just not able to get in. But just kind of final thoughts on that game and the learning opportunity. But again, playing another really good team on the schedule.
Yeah, Carter had a deep thigh bruise, and that's why he was out of the game. So at one time, we didn't have either of our starting running backs in the game, Buck-A-Neer or our starting quarterback. So we had a backup quarterback and both backup running backs in the game. But we still decided to go with him. I asked him if, how he felt. He thought he could, but he hasn't practiced yet this week. So we're hoping he can go on Saturday. Luckily, we got the game on Saturday, so we got one more day of rest for these guys. And yeah, we thought about a lot of different plays we could have tried, but that was probably our best option at that point.
Yeah, you did a lot of thinking. You took a timeout prior to that, so you had the full time to think that's allowable under the rules. So you had that going for you. All right, so we turn now to Saturday. It's homecoming. Game got moved to Saturday. Auburndale. Guess what? Another really good team is going to be on the other side. You'll be without your quarterback, or your starting quarterback anyway. So tell us about that preparation. Who will be taking the snaps on Saturday?
Tegan Strite, who's a sophomore. We have no junior quarterback. Most of our juniors are linemen, and that's unusual for us. Usually we have a quarterback in every grade, but that class doesn't happen to have one. So, he will have to be playing there. And, of course, he may also have to play some defense because Matty also played strong safety on defense. And we got a different guy kicking for him and so on. But I think it'll be okay. If we can get our other guys back. We can get Buck-A-Neer back and get Carter Butt back. And Owen Ballman also ended up with a knee injury. He's a starting tight end for us. He tried to run some today with a brace on, so he may be able to go too. They just won't be quite 100% probably.
So I mentioned, by the way, we'll step back here. The Jerry Sinz Show at the Buck-A-Neer in Roselleville. Homecoming on Saturday. That's a 3:00 game. That's a pretty good time to have a football game. Get everybody out there. There's no excuses. That's I got to work until what? No, get out there and watch the football game. If for some reason you can't be there, we'll have it live at ZaleskiSports.com. Jay Anderson over at Auburndale always has his guys ready. He's had some really quality football teams over the years. It seems like he's able to make the sum greater than some of those individual parts over the years as well. He's had some struggles down there with just the way that things go and the ebb and flow of talent that's available. But he's 4-0. He's up at the top of the conference there with Colby. He just took care of Abbotsford 21-0. Talk about Jay Anderson and your history coaching against another really good coach in the Marywood Conference. Yeah,
he's been there quite a while. We've had some really good games at Auburndale over the years. They always seem to play maybe a little more inspired at home. Well, that's probably pretty much for everybody. But yeah, this year I think they're 5-1 overall. I've seen 2 or 3 of their games on film, and the quarterback seems fast, shifty, has a good arm. Obviously, Roberson is fast. I saw him in a conference track meet, and I know he won a 100-meter dash, so I know he's fast and a good-sized guy. They also have a couple pretty good receivers and stuff like that. So, and then the fact that they were able to shut out Abbey. Obviously, their defense is playing well too. So, yeah, it'll be a good game, obviously, and we're looking forward to it, homecoming and everything.
Talked about the game film that you watched, and I'm looking at some stats here. You mentioned the quarterback, Trayton Weber, 572 yards in the air. He also is right up there in rushing yards. He and Robertson combined for almost 1,000 yards on the season. And then you got Tim Schmidt and Alex Wilford, both 200-yard receivers. So you're going to have to guard the perimeters, and you're going to have to take care of the middle. Another game where the defense is going to have their work cut out for them.
Right. Yeah. They have a lot of different weapons. It's interesting that they're going to be now this will be our 7th game, and they're going to be the 6th team that's run pretty much the same offense. The only team that didn't was Hurley, who ran the full house backfield with the double tight ends, but everybody else we've played has run the pistol and the spread, so at least we're familiar with that look, and you know what people do out of it. It's pretty similar to what Amherst runs, pretty similar to what Iola runs, and Stratford's actually kind of running that now too. So.
Yeah, we'll dive into maybe just a little bit of playoff talk here, and then we'll come back to the Packers. We had some good Packers talk a couple weeks ago, and the Packers have turned it around. But yeah, I think of your team and the games. I mentioned the caliber of these teams you're playing. You're playing some of the best teams, week in and week out. And here comes Auburndale again. Like I said, they're 4-0 in conference. Playoff seeding this year is done by a computer. So we'll see. This will be new for everybody. We'll see how that goes. But they used a weighted system where strength of schedule is a big deal. So you got check mark there. You got a couple wins. You hope to get a few more along the year. So check mark there. What other thought do you and the coaches put into what the computer is going to spit out here in about 3 weeks?
Well, we really haven't talked about it yet. Even though we know with the way our conference is set up, that pretty much everybody in our conference that wins one game is going to get in the playoffs. It doesn't matter what division and what grouping you're put in and so on. We're still looking for a Week 9 game, too, so we got that kind of on our mind. We were going to combine homecoming and senior night both this week, but now that we got a couple of seniors that are dinged up and may not be able to play with that, let's just leave it at homecoming and hope we get a game for Week 9, and that'll be senior night. Because this is only going to be our 3rd home game, and next week we're on the road at Abbey, so we haven't had many home games, but we haven't really talked much about the playoffs yet. We're kind of just trying to get healthy and get the season finished up.
So with senior night then still in the balance, you'd be looking for a home game in Week 9. From what I've seen, this probably has nothing to do with anything, Coach, but from what I've seen, a lot of these teams that are missing games during the week, they seem to pick one up Wednesday, Thursday morning. So I hope you find one.
Right, that's our plan too. That maybe on Monday.
Yeah, it's tough. You look at the schedules now, and everybody's booked up in that way. But there is still some lingering things going on out in the world, and it seems like teams kind of poke up every now and then. Greenwood over 8-man had a game missing for this week, and they found one just earlier today on Wednesday. So that seems to be kind of the pattern. So, we hope you find one. We're going to be there for it if you do. The seniors need to get their due, and that'd be a good thing as well. So, got to be at home. So, those of you watching this, help Coach and the Wildcats find a game. It's out there. It's waiting. Okay, so we talked about the Packers after our last show. Of course, they lost that first week. They were able to take care of the Lions, a little bit easier game maybe that next week, and then able to hang on and really put on a spectacular show there at the end. 37 seconds, no timeouts left. The home team just scores a touchdown, and wouldn't you know it, a few plays later, field goal for the win. What did you think about the game?
Yeah, I was watching upstairs. My wife was watching downstairs. And, of course, she let out a big scream and yelled up. And if I was watching, I said, yeah, of course I'm watching. And, I'm just amazed at how good Adams is, and Rogers. I mean, Adams is about the best route runner I've ever seen in my life. It's amazing how he can get open. And Rogers, he can drop a ball in like he's dropping it out of a helicopter or something into these tight little tiny windows. It was fun to watch. I had my doubts when there was only 37 seconds left and no timeouts that they'd be able to get in position, but they did. So it was fun, and I think they'll probably. And of course they're dinged up too. They got a lot of offensive linemen that are out, hurt. So all those things have a bearing. They're not. I'm a fan. They don't necessarily know who's healthy and who's not healthy, but every guy that's hurt hurts you a little bit.
Yeah, it all adds up in the end. Real short story. Devontae, yeah, I agree with you. Real good route runner. Jordy Nelson, prior to him, at one point, I thought was the best route runner in the NFL as well. So Rogers had some nice receivers to throw to. Rachel, who's off camera here, she got to interview Devontae a few years ago. Probably gave him a pep talk and helped him to what he's become is probably what happened there. So, all right, I think we'll wrap it up there. You got some food to eat. I think we've had a pretty good talk. We'll look forward to the game and good luck at Saturday against Auburndale.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, that'll do it for the Jerry Sinz Show here at the Buck-A-Neer in Roselleville. Again, game time 3 o'clock. Get down to Edgar and watch the boys homecoming on Saturday at 3 p.m. And if you can't make the game, we'll have it live at ZaleskiSports.com. Dan Ross on the call. And enjoy either way. And we'll see you next time on the Jerry Sinz Show.